Some people ask me what running pace should we train at, specifically our VO2 max and lactate threshold pace. You have to know these two numbers by heart because it's super important if you want to gain the most from your workout. You can't just simply run any other pace you want, because doing that may make you feel exhausted but may not actually lead to improvement. So effectively, you're putting out all the effort but you wasted a session. So essentially, spending time at your lactate threshold pace will help your body get rid of lactic acid faster, and spending time training at your VO2 max pace will help improve your aerobic power, and that means improving your heart muscles and oxygen carrying capacity. So all you really need is to find out these two numbers, your lactate threshold pace and your VO2 max pace, just by simply doing a 3km time trial and plug your time in into the VDOT calculator you can find online. 3km is the most accurate distance because it's generally around your VO2 max pace. You also can do a 2.4km, but the results tend to be faster. Conversely, if you run a 5km, the results tend to be a bit slower. But you still can use 2.4 or 5k to get a general idea of where your VO2 max pace and your lactate threshold pace is at. So here's mine. I just recently did a 5k personal best at 17:53. So I'll just put that into the calculator. Make sure you change the units to kilometers and then add your time. Click calculate and then training. So these are my estimated training paces for my easy pace and marathon pace, and it thinks that I can run a marathon at 4:03 pace. But what you really need is a threshold and interval pace. Threshold means your lactate threshold pace and interval means your VO2 max pace. So those are the two numbers that you have to remember every single training session until you do your next 3km time trial again and plug the new values inside. And hopefully these numbers get faster. So after knowing these two numbers, then you can start planning your training sets. For lactate threshold training, the idea is that you want to spend as much time every week training at your lactate threshold. The more time you spend at lactate threshold, the faster your body will become adept to clearing your lactic acid. Lactate threshold workouts are one of the most taxing sessions in a week. So normally runners will just have one lactate threshold session a week. So usually a typical lactate threshold session may last a total of 20 to 30 minutes, not including the rest, just the actual workout time. And elite runners may do 40 minutes and above. So a typical set may be something like 4 times 5 minutes at lactate threshold pace with a 60-second to 90-second rest. Typically, the rest for lactate threshold workouts are very short because you don't want your body to clear off all the lactic acids before you start off the next set. Rep. So once you feel your 4 times 5 minute lactate threshold workouts is quite comfortable, you may want to increase that to a 4 times 6 minute or reduce the rest from 90 to 60 seconds. Also, if you don't want to do intervals, you can do a straight 20-minute run. That has another benefit because it doesn't allow your body to clear lactic acid in between rest breaks. If you're on the track, a typical lactate threshold distance might be from 1.2k to 2 kilometers. Some popular workouts on the track are like 3 times 1.6k, 4 times 1.6k, 4 times 2k maybe. So once again, the idea is to slowly build up the time spent at lactate threshold each week, except for your rest week, and then do another 3km time trial to check whether if you have improved your time and update your lactate threshold paces. Then like the cycle repeats itself. Similar story for VO2 max training, however the sets are a bit different. The idea is still to spend as much time at VO2 max as possible, but because VO2 max is a much faster pace than lactate threshold, so usually runners will still spend below 20 minutes for an entire set. Typical VO2 max sets are 1k reps and below. For example, 400 meters, 800 meters, and 1k. These sets are really difficult, and that's why they are fairly short in terms of the total distance or workout time. Usually people can run only up to 12 minutes at true VO2 max pace. So for training, you'll want to spend around 12 to 20 minutes or 4 to 6 kilometers training at VO2 max. So a very common VO2 max workout would be like a 10 times 400 meter repeat with a 1-to-1 recovery, which means the amount of time you spend running equals to your rest time as well. And that goes for 600 meter, 800 meter and your 1 kilometer reps as well. VO2 max training usually have a 1-to-1 work to rest ratio because the purpose of VO2 max training is not specifically to train your lactate threshold clearing. You have your lactate threshold workouts for that. So that's why we have a long break for your body to have a chance to clear the lactic acid and to make sure your reps are of quality and you can run the sets at your VO2 max pace. So common VO2 max sets are like 10 times 400, 4 or 5 times 800, or 5 times 1k, or even 6 times 1k. And usually 6 times 1k is like the longest VO2 max set, and if you're like doing 7 or 8 times 1k, it might be overtraining or you're just not training at your true VO2 max. So a quick recap. All you gotta do is test a 3k time trial, put into the VDOT calculator, Know your 2 training paces, your lactate threshold and VO2 max pace, and then train for it for 3 to 5 months, slowly progressing the time spent at both paces each week. And at every 4th week, remember to drop your volume and intensity. Typically for me means no intense workout at all, just easy runs. And then the 3-week build and rest week cycle begins until you do your next 3K time trial. Then the cycle repeats itself again. So thank you guys for keeping your questions coming in. That helps me with ideas for these kind of videos. If you're new here, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in another video. Bye!